and welcome to the debate. I'm your host, Maqbool, with you at Ptv World. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the developing situation in light of what we have seen happen in Husnain, with a terrorist attack targeting a school bus in which a number of children have also lost their lives, many injured. And this is, of course, something that has been orchestrated at the hands of India, has been put forward by the way that the reports are coming in and the way that Pakistan has evidence of Indian state-sponsored involvement and terrorism inside Pakistan. We also know that intelligence-based operations were conducted in both Balochistan and KP, where about 12 Indian-sponsored terrorists were targeted and sent to hell. And this is particularly important given the ways that we have seen in the aftermath of the huge defeat that India suffered at the hands of Pakistan, that these kind of proxy wars and terrorist activities within Pakistan are being carried out by Indian-sponsored terrorists. And of course, something that the world needs to be cognizant of. Pakistan has, of course, put forward this evidence many times before as well, and responds to, of course, any threat to its security and its citizens, and has done so in this regard as well. But again, this is something that remains to be seen as to what sort of accountability exists at the broader front, and of course in the ways that we're going to be able to target and hold accountable a state that is responsible for killing children. This is also important in terms of the ways that Pakistan is putting forward its stance, also in terms of facts in the aftermath of the Pahalgam attack, where the oppressor itself is claiming and falsely accusing Pakistan of terrorist activities, while Pakistan, of course, has suffered at the hands of India and has condemned any and every act of terrorism. So it's important, of course, to understand what has happened so far in the ways that we have seen unfortunate lives, as you can see on your screens, also that have been lost, and of course very dear to their families and to all of us. And our hearts goes out to the families and to the bereaved souls. This is a huge loss, of course. But what is important also is the ways that it is investigated and that those responsible are brought to task. So we're going to be taking a look at that in the show today and try to understand what it needs to be Pakistan's response and approach to this very important matter, and to move forward in terms of dealing with terrorist activities in Pakistan, and of course the ways that Indian involvement also exists on the matter. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analysts Farrukh, Pitafi and Faisal, and we've also been joined online by Lieutenant General retired Mr. Zahid Mehmood. Thank you very much, and Zahid, for joining us and being a part of the discussion. And I'll take your perspective first, sir, with reference to what we have seen and in the ways that we have seen India suffer such a huge defeat at the hands of Pakistan. Of course, Pakistan has put forward evidence of Indian state-sponsored terrorism and terror networks and links in the past as well, and most notably, of course, during this conflict too. And now we have seen, unfortunately, that once again, children have been targeted in the kind of Indian state-sponsored terrorism that we see in Balochistan. And this is very important that those responsible are brought to task. I want your take on the matter first, sir.
Thank you very much, Sana, for the invite. And my regards and salam to Pitafi Sahab and Raja Faisal Sahab. Of course, this is again a very dark day for the humanity, to be very honest. For the humanity, because today humanity is suffering at the hands of such a low mentality leadership, anti-human and narcissist mentality. I always maintain that Mr. Modi is a narcissist. He has to be, the Indian people will have to do scrutiny of this premier in this office, because he can bring, he has already brought a lot of shame for India. But he's not only bringing shame to India, he is bringing hell for India and this region, because he is anti 1.6 billion people living in this region. And I have no words to, say about these inhuman people who are killing our innocent girls. They have been defeated very badly by Pakistan. They have been humiliated. Their military has been disgraced, embarrassed. Even in the eyes of Indians, they exactly know their worth. Now India is trying to cover up through their joker media. I don't call them media, because they're no more than jokers or a kind of a theater, they're good at doing the theater rather than giving the news or the views or analysis or the realistic approach. Anyways, I don't call them media. So whatever they are portraying, this is not the true face. So they are just, to be very honest, they're playing with themselves. They're playing with the destiny of their own people. already they have sowed the seeds for the disintegration of India. Khalistan movement, you will see that already they have fired 5 missiles in Amritsar. That has sowed the seeds for the Khalistan movement. Seven sister states, the next slides, they are already on their way. And Kashmir, this struggle is going to take more traction. Anyways, we were expecting this, whatever they have done. We were expecting this, that they will, put more fuel to already existing proxies and already the existing elements in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. So they're putting more effort in that. The captured documents, which were the plans which were made for this operational Sindoor and their this application on this charade drama which they have done. This was part of that application, that there already existing elements, sitting elements inside Balochistan will start functioning as per their orders, and now they are doing so. But anyway, Pakistan is ready for this, and probably I will refer the approach, future approach, to the speech of Chief of Army Staff, which he made during that during once these expatriates were here in Pakistan. He was talking to those, and he spoke about his approach towards India, and he spoke about these elements, these non-state actors who are operating in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. So whatever he spoke about India, the Chief of Army Staff at that time, during that overseas convention I'm referring about. So whatever he spoke about, whatever he claimed, and whatever he declared against India, he did that. And I am pretty confident that he will do the same, whatever he has maintained about, or whatever he has said about these Fitna al-Khawarij and these non-state actors in Balochistan. And we are going to see this happening very soon. The presence of Prime Minister and the presence of Chief Army Staff in Balochistan for itself speaks that they are determined, they are focused, and you're going to see the application in the kinetic and as well as, of course, in the other domains also. But lot to be done. Lot to be done. We need to have a superior protective maneuver from the threat which has, which is there, which is from within our own society. There are elements, there are people inside Pakistan. Although Afghanistan and India are playing the lead role, India is the chief sponsor of this proxy. India is controlling all this effort. But I think in the phase one, we should start off from our own internal, operations, internal taking care of the things within Pakistan, and especially those porters, abaters, and the finance which is coming from within. And of course, these elements will be pursued wherever they are. This state is very confident. Wherever they are, I mean it, any part of the world.
And this is very important, of course, as we move forward with this fight. And Farrukh, I want your take on this, because when we have taken a look at our fight against terrorism, there has been a lot of effort that has been put into the way that we're moving forward with the National Action Plan, how we want zero tolerance policy, and the kind of intelligence-based operations that are conducted, and of course operations that are also conducted. And then, of course, with the way forward, this resolve that the Prime Minister has also put forward is important. But while we talk about all of these factors, there is also the element that is coming in terms of external factors, and that of course is India primarily. And I want your take then, when we are fighting this menace within the borders of Pakistan, how are we going to fight this internationally also, in terms of these elements and spoilers that are involved, and the way that we bring them to task?
Thank you very much, Sana. Let us first condemn the dastardly act today. Cowards kill children. And we have seen that this mentality might be there in India, but it is also happening elsewhere, like Israel, right? That kind of contagion has spread to India, and Indians have lost all perspective. On one side, or whatever happens to their own citizens, whether it is a false flag or whether it is something else, they have to instinctively blame Pakistan for everything and start all those theatrics that they started after Pahalgam. On the other side, they're intellectuals, they're retired officers sit on their television and confess that they are fighting this war, proxy war in Pakistan, and they very happily take credit for innocents being killed. For instance, these kids, these beautiful kids who were slain by these cowards, these terrorists. So one thing is for sure, it kind of reminds me of something that President Trump, when he used to have this show called Apprentice, in which in third season perhaps he says, company of losers makes you a loser, right? And that is quite evident in India. Before India has a great potential, it is a country which represents 5,000 years of human evolution, but then they got this party, this government elected, and because of that, even their moderates, even their liberals sound worse than our extremists, and that is obnoxious. So I think the first thing to answer your question is to hold the mirror and show the king emperor that it wears no clothes. It is without any clothes, right? On the other side also, then you have to actually ensure inside the country that our centralization of intelligence is ensured, because if you remember, we have discussed this matter quite a few times. On one side, we have actually mentioned how in NISP, National Internal Security Policy, which was envisaged somewhere in 2015, 14, 15, at that time there was this concept of integration of all intelligence agencies where information can be shared. Then you need a very robust counterintelligence policy, and then of course counter-terrorism policy as well. Finally, of course, these people are being financed, these people are being supported by foreigners. We know Indians are doing that, but they are using, and these days if you have noticed, after they actually got the job-breaking response from Pakistan, they have started saying that we will be using Afghanistan to get back at Pakistan, and this is happening in broad daylight on their channels, right? Their policy makers are discussing this. That means there is something wrong in Afghanistan also. There are three, provinces that Faisal always talks about: Paktia, Nuristan, and Kunnad, right? So all these are examples of what is happening. So Pakistan has to, on one side, confront India, confront Afghanistan, and then ensure that inside the borders of this country, whatever happens, the government of Pakistan has keen eye on that and stops that.
Absolutely. Faisal, I want your take also with reference to what has happened, and especially what has happened in the aftermath of the Indian aggression. When we talk about the way that India had suffered such a huge loss, the timing of these attacks and the proxy wars that are being launched, and the way that these terrorist outfits sponsored by India are being used against Pakistan is also very, very important when we talk about sending our international delegation, for example, that is planned to put forward a narrative and evidence of these actions by India to different world capitals. And so how relevant to the discussion will be the kind of attacks that we've just seen?
Yes, Anna, first of all, let me tell you that whenever these kind of incidents they take place in Pakistan, it's a jubilant kind of moment for Indian media, because I sit in them, and of course I know that how they celebrate that and how they propagate that. Of course, the liberation movement of Balochistan is going on, and we are with the liberation movement. And of course, when we talk about these kind of incidents, this is not the first time. Of course, we shouldn't be forgetting the APS attack of Peshawar, and of course India's investment was behind it. TTP conducted it, and India was behind it. India paid for it. And if we talk about incidents, several incidents in Balochistan that were of course like Jafar Express and many more, they were investment of India. And this too, once more, of course, targeting the kids. These minnows, these rats, they don't want to come out of their hideouts, because we have fixed them there. We have hit them where it really hurts them, and they are not even trying to airborne their aeroplanes, their fighter jets. Reason being, as soon as they would come up, of course they'll be shot down by Pakistan's armed forces, by Pakistan's Air Force, and the whole world knows about it. India is a rat. Today's rat is India. And in why India is conducting all of these activities and is behind all of these activities, because they can't fight like men. They are rats who are using their money to, of course, promote terrorism in Pakistan. And we have the living example of Kulbhushan Jadhav, who was in Pakistan and, of course, who was financing terrorism in Pakistan. And there are many more who have been, of course, involved in this. There are few who are sitting in different countries, of course, trying to make sure that the money is being sent to all of these monsters on our western border in time, and they can conduct all of these activities. And when it comes to India and what the solution should be in coming days, to me, if I was ruling this country, the very first step I would be taking is take this Kulbhushan Jadhav to D-Chowk and hang him there and show the footage to the whole world and tell the world that this is the resolve of these kind of monsters who have been investing money in Pakistan to destabilize Pakistan and to kill the kids of Pakistan. And this is the resolve I would be seeking. And you know, the next step, what I would be doing, and probably for this reason I would never be ruling this country, I would be ordering my Air Force to go inside, and Raw's headquarters should be bombed to rubbles, and RSS headquarters in Nagpur should be bombed to rubble, because that is the monstrous kind of ideology which is persisting in today's monstrous India, that is involved in investing terrorism in Pakistan, and our kids are suffering. And this is the ultimate resolve. Only hope I have that in coming future, in coming months and weeks, we might be seeing a change in terms that, of course, we have seen that Taliban representative met with, of course, Pakistani representative, and then, of course, the Chinese as well. They are meeting each other. They are working for peace to be restored in the region. They are working for the peace of the region, and that involves Pakistan being hit from inside Afghanistan, and the money that is being paid to these monsters. It is now responsibility of Taliban as well to shake hand with Pakistan and join the hand with Pakistan, and take action with against all of these monsters who are sitting in the provinces which my brother Farrukh has earlier highlighted. And this is the resolve. And if the results are not coming that fast, then of course Pakistan needs to talk to Taliban, and of course Islamabad and Kabul jointly, they should be taking the war to where it starts from. And then we will be seeing that how many rats are hiding there as well, who are, of course, facilitating and financing these monsters from across the border, and these monsters are getting into Pakistan. And we need to talk to, of course, Iran as well, that Iran needs to shake hand with Pakistan against these monsters. We should not be providing any opportunity to the Indians, to the loser Indians who can't fight like men and they want to fight like rats. And we need to show them the mirror. This is where they belong, and they should never be given a chance to, of course, appear again.
Right, General Zahid, I want your perspective on this too, because while I understand what Faisal's sentiment is, it's important, of course, to move forward with the kind of responsibility and restraint that we've also shown in the recent conflict with India, and of course to engage the diplomatic community effectively for actual credible stance that can be taken against India. And so for that, what sort of an approach is necessary when we engage with bodies like the UNSC, when we engage with bodies like those who look after terror financing, like other issues, when we also cater to different countries and their perspectives, or defense cooperation even. How do we then approach that angle to allow for this evidence and fact to take space when countries interact with India?
So now I think we need to have a better diplomatic effort. I can understand that, look, Pakistan has always tried its best to strengthen these organizations, especially United Nations. We have contributed a lot the effectiveness of United Nations. But unfortunately, there are issues. But anyway, all the forums which are available to us, they must be approached. They must be approached very systematically. And now is the perfect environment. Today, those ears are available to Pakistan, which hear your voice, which understand your plight. Today, we have those eyes available after these 4 days debacle of India, after this 4 days war. Now, international community is very much clear, pretty much clear that these Indians, this is their charade, approach. They are always trying to hide behind these terrorism and acts like this because this is their lead instrument. So they want to hide their application of this lead instrument. It's a transnational terrorist country now. Mr. Modi, Amit Shah, Doval, these collectors, and look at their shaky Shankar, I always call, because I saw him quite otherwise I always found him very confident with lot of hubristic approach and explaining things. But in these 4 days, the way he was speaking, the way he was explaining things, and the way he ran and scrambled to contact his partners in Afghanistan to get their support. So there were only two countries which were supporting them physically also and politically also. That's Afghanistan and not Afghanistan, Kabul. We should not say Afghanistan, because the people of Afghanistan, we have no enmity with them. They themselves are poor people. They are victim of their Kabul, whatever is happening in Kabul. So they scrambled to Kabul, and Israel, of course, were there. But anyway, we should also, be very effective in the SEO. We have an organization, RADS, which is having members from these regional countries who are also a kind of a victim from the terrorism which is emanating from Afghanistan soil, and India. Now they are already talking against Azerbaijan. You have already heard about Turkey, Bangladesh. So they will use the same instrument against these friends of Pakistan. They will not, stop or restrict themselves to Pakistan only, and against China as well. So because this has been their history of, doing conspiracies, taking refuge behind the establishing and creating conspiracy, then taking full advantage of political and military advantage of that conspiracy and using the non-state actors and creating enemies for their opponent country from within that country. So we need to we need to contact regional powers also, regional countries also, and we need to negotiate with Afghanistan also. Look, we can be very emotional, I can understand, but we have to live with them, not because of fears from them, but because of, the future progress and prosperity and stability. Otherwise, anybody who has pockets full of, finances or bills, so they will go and buy these people in Afghanistan, because Afghanistan has become the international hub of all the terrorist franchises. They already have $7 billion American weapons available to them, and we need to engage United States also, other than the organization. So it has to be a bilateral, multilateral, and of course, these organizations are very, very important aspects, should be aspects and targets of our policy. So we should approach them, and then a strong follow-up. We always talk to the people, we always convey our feelings, we always share our doses, but we sometimes fail to follow up on that. So aggressively we have to follow up on that, and their ambassadors, their high commissioners sitting in Pakistan, it should be kind of a routine to follow up on them and ask them what is happening, how can they support us. And of course, our biggest strategic partner is China, because this India is bruised. Now people are talking about the Chinese and equating our war with the Chinese capabilities versus the American capabilities, and bringing a lot of debate. A lot of debate is going on, especially in Taiwan-China context, Chinese applications. So this is the best time to show to the world that, look, this irresponsible terrorist country, India, is bringing the international community and the whole world to the nuclear conflicts because of their own charade intelligence, domestic political objectives. So they are such a naive people that even they're not bothered about the lives of their own Indian people, whether it is a nuclear conflict or any kind of a conflict. So their irresponsible environment is very good. Pakistan must pursue their diplomatic objectives aggressively, considering the environment which is available to Pakistan because of our excellent military notion of victory which we have established.
Right, absolutely. Thank you very much, Janzad, for joining us and being a
Thank you.
part of the debate and sharing your views with us. And Farrukh, I'll come to you when we talk about, of course, leveraging our current stance and making sure that the world understands where we're coming from. There's also, of course, a lot of concern in terms of what exists today and what will exist tomorrow. So in the ways that we want to take this forward and to leverage this current position that we have, what important factors do we still need to consider, given that India still enjoys good relations with many countries, including the US?
Right, Sana. I think that the world is finally opening, waking up to the fact that Pakistan has been a very good ally. Such a good ally that it has always been eager to please, and it has been such a good ally that it has allowed its allies to actually frame it from their own failures. For example, whatever happened in Afghanistan for 20 years was repeatedly put on Pakistan, even though Mullah Batrader that everybody kept on saying, talking about, was behind bars, and he was let go only when the US would ask us to let him go, right? But unfortunately, look, because of that, cooperative nature, what has happened? On both sides of the border, on our both borders, western and eastern, there are people sitting who have this uncanny sense of entitlement. Look at what India is demanding or was demanding. A, whatever happens in our country, don't ask for any evidence. Just take our word for it that you are bad, we are good. And we are the victim, you are the assailant, right? Then the second thing, lower your guards and let us enter your country and beat people up. And then once that happens, let us go back without any consequences and celebrate, and then just lie down and keep on saying, ow, 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 right? With that kind of a situation, India's intellectual meltdown and moral depravity has reached such a level that the entire world can see it. Now I assure you, if India does not change its behavior, they might have to replace the Ashok Chakra on their flag with this symbol, Sana, plane crashing, right? Why? Because India has shown to the world that it is a paper tiger, and its planes are paper planes which keep on crashing all the time. With that happening, we can actually, and by the way, amazing thing has happened. Indians, and especially the intellectuals, so-called intellectuals, their elite, their media, was sending a lot of hate towards Pakistan. Then it increased to China, then Turkey, then Azerbaijan, and now they have actually included America in that also. I don't know why. You went begging to American president to save your skin, and he helped you out, and now you are actually betraying him all the time. With that kind of mentality, the world is ready for our message, and it should be a cakewalk. That is not all. I heard something very interesting from my friend who is in the US but is associated with HSS. He said that why are you worried that India is actually sending its diplomatic teams or lawmakers all over the world? I said because they are going to just try to spew hate. They said no, that is not the issue. Actually, in elections, Modi ji's party won only 240 seats and they needed 272. They have two crucial allies on whom they depend, and they are actually demanding a lot right now because of the state of affairs with Pakistan. Because of that, they fear that people will be lost. So what they are doing is they have arranged this junket, which includes a substantial portion of other parties, opposition parties' representation, so that they can actually pry people away and stay in power. So it is essentially for their domestic consumption. You don't have to worry All they need is a good jet, some 5-star, 7-star treatment in America elsewhere, and that's it. I said, even then, we are not going to leave any place with the unrepresented. So this is what is happening. But Pakistan can very easily show all the evidence. Faisal was talking about hanging Kulbhushan Yadav on chalk. I don't think we are, after all, a constitutional democracy. We can people have rights. What we can do is actually take him along and make him meet all over the world, and people can listen to the story what exactly is happening. Otherwise, take his testimony and show it to the world what kind of monsters India is actually investing in. And then, of course, Afghan Taliban. I kept on telling you there is a link. Do you know only 2 countries actually, Indians actually say, I don't know about Taiwan, they say only 2 countries have actually supported India's position. Not even Israel, mind you. They never said that invade Pakistan or attack Pakistan. They say one was Taiwan, the other one was Afghanistan. And if that is the case, we have to ask all the people who were their prophets or their supporters, what kind of havoc they have wreaked, that there are people who keep on undermining you, right? So I think that the world is ready for our message, or always bring all the evidence, as much evidence as possible, because India does not have any. They will bring the arrogance, you bring evidence, and then see what happens.
Right, and Faisal, I want your take on that, because we of course are doing that. We're putting forward the evidence, and while we of course take a look at the ways that the international community is actually dealing with the situation, it's important of course to understand the ways in which it works and the ways that these relationships flourish. And so when we talk about evidence and accountability, there's a lot going on in the world that we haven't really seen people being taken to task or people being held accountable, and same goes for states. And so when we talk about India, why will it be different and why now?
Yes, and obviously when we, first of all, I just wanted to highlight my sentiments. I mean, this place, Husdar, I have been there once, and I have come across people out there, and lots of them, they actually, fathers, they work in the Middle East, and they are day and night working there and making sure that their kids, they study, and they study hard, and then later on they get into universities in Karachi. They are very hard working people, and they love education, and they are a society that is sending their female children to study, and they want to give them a bright future. But when it comes to these kind of activities which are being funded by a country like India, which are being of course facilitated by them, which are being financed by them, and of course these kind of activities time and again they take place, and India has no courage to of course fight Pakistan, and they come up with these kind of resolves for themselves. And that's why I highlighted my sentiment in that context, that if Pakistan is sending its daughters to the schools, there is a country that is actually investing in terrorism to hit that effort to send the kids, especially the female kids, to go to school. And when it comes to why situation is very clear right now, and for Pakistan, of course, if Pakistan goes out to the rest of the world, as India is trying to safeguard itself, well, majority of the world has considered India to be a douchebag, a new douchebag, and any country surrounding India, they can gather some courage and beat them up. It's a new douchebag, and literally anyone can do it. Reason being, they haven't got courage to fight back. And I would simply tell to countries like Bangladesh and Nepal and all of them, Nepali people are very courageous people when it comes to their soldiers and all. Anybody has any trouble with this today's India, beat them up, because these minnows, they don't have any courage to fight at all. They just hide like rats and do these kind of activities which they have conducted in Pakistan. And Pakistan has to highlight it again and again to the rest of the world and tell them that this is the monster India that has been actually exporting terrorism to the Western countries as well. They have been exporting the menace like RSS ideology to the Western countries, and I'm not saying it. Even now, even the Guardian and the Sunday Times and all of these big newspapers, they're talking about it even in UK. They're talking about it that systematically they are sending in hardliner Indians into Britain just to, of course, raise the Israeli flags and Indian flags whenever there is something going on related to Khalistan or Kashmir or Pakistan or Palestine. You would see them carrying two flags, one Indian and the other one would be Israeli flags. These are monsters and abettors of the monsters. These are the people who highlight genocide. They are genocidal people, and this is the product of today's India. I mean, everyone talks about that India is very well advanced, and of course they are putting efforts into education and the IT and all. Well, there will be few, there will be many, I must say. But in the south of India, when it comes to the central India and few parts of the north of India, of course, these minnows, they have a mentality that is a genocidal mentality. They are not even a threat to their own people, but to, of course, all of the rest of the neighboring people, because they are mad. They are mad and they need a medicine and a fixing. Pakistan has done so, but this is temporary. They need a long list of medicine, and the world needs to put its efforts as well. If they are talking against Israel now, right now, before India does any other mad activity in the region, they have to talk to India as well. Today's Modi, his BJP, with the power that actually originates from RSS's ideology, that needs to be fixed. And all of these monsters who are sitting in the Western countries, of course, promoting hate out there as well, they need to be sent back to India as well. These are not the people that should be in the Western countries or anywhere in the world. Yes, Indians who are into the IT, who are saner from the south of India or from elsewhere in India, they should be welcomed there rather than these kind of monsters. They are actually not doing a good service to their own humanity, their own citizens as well. They need to send all of these Indians back. And when it comes to India as a country and Pakistan, when it is bringing all of these dossiers against all of these people, I mean, all of these facts, they are already known to the Western countries. They have been, of course, shying away from them and leaving it well left just because of one reason. They always considered India to be a fighter that can, of course, pose a threat to China. Forget about it. India is not good enough for even Bangladesh now. India will get a beating from there. Forget about Pakistan or China. This country, this today's India is a douchebag. And douchebag India should not be welcomed in the Western
I think we should mind our language, when we speak about
much.
this. But thank you very much for your comments, and thank you, Farrukh, for joining us in debate as always. That's all that we have time for. We'll now see you tomorrow.